Welcome to Family Focus with Maureen. I'm your host, Maureen Nunn. Family Focus is a show about parenting strategies and advice and tips for families and their children. When we get married and say I do, there's 15% that will actually keep that vow and have a long life until you die marriage. There's 25% of the traditional family still in America. That's mom and dad and the kids in the home. But the other statistics are a bit grim. There's 55% of all marriages in the United States end in divorce, and then 65% of second marriages end in divorce. Even though those statistics are a bit grim, there still is light at the end of the tunnel. And my very special guests today are here to talk about step families. Dr. Susan Davis Swanson, who is the Executive Director of the Step Family Center, and she's also a licensed clinical psychologist, board certified in California. And the wonderful thing that she does is she works with couples who are remarrying and bringing in children from former relationships. Bravo to you.
Thank you, but we all need the help, so I'm happy to do it.
And her wonderful husband, Dr. Rex Swanson, who is the director now of the Step Family Center. You spent a lot of years in government, and you've just decided that your mission now will be in helping couples who are going through this struggle be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel and to have, I guess, move ahead successfully, which is fantastic.
It's true. It's a different kind of public service.
It's well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
First of all, the big question is, what is a step family?
Well, a step family is any time anybody gets together with a partner who has children from a prior relationship. They're going to be in a step. They're already in step dynamics. So we could consider it a step family when they get married or when they cohabitate, but you're already entering into step family dynamics. But it's the idea that you have children from a prior relationship in the mix that aren't organically part of the couple.
Organically. Okay.
Biologically.
Good question.
Right.
Well, given the statistics, which are just a bit high, with the divorce rate on 55% on the first-time marriages,
right,
and then 65% on the second marriage, you are a step family couple. And give us some specific ways on how you've made it work, because there are huge challenges.
There are.
Well, I have a comment to throw in here. We discovered, and actually Susan helped me discover, that the most important thing you can do as a step family couple is to be very strong with each other. What you need to do is be strong enough to withstand the step family experience. Because my personal definition of a step family is it's a family where at least one of the children view at least one of the parents as an interloper.
Well, given that then, and I understand when you say the word strong, that you have to be very strong together, but can you give us some specific examples of how you are strong together? I don't see any weapons on you.
No, we stopped carrying weapons. That was the first thing. But one of the things that, we're a step couple, and what's interesting about my history is that I was in a 25-year marriage prior to Rex that was also a step family. And the differences between what he and I did versus what happened then defines why I'm out there talking about what we do, which is you need to know what's going on in a step family. You can't be ignorant to the dynamics that are very different from a nuclear family. When a man and a woman get together, they have no children by a prior relationship, it's completely different than when there are existing children and ex-spouses. And you need to understand what's going on and have the education so that you can communicate about it effectively, or you fight.
So, very quickly, let's go through the myths, and then we'll go through the reality. Give us a few of the myths on the step family.
Well, the classic myth is the Brady Bunch. That's we all remember the television show. I think they even do reunion shows every once in a while.
Yeah.
And that was a step family where both former spouses are dead, and apparently their parents are dead too, and they have a maid, and they have a 9-bedroom house, and the maid acts as sort of a psychologist for the kids anytime any problems come up. That's unrealistic. That's a real myth.
That's a real myth. Okay, so
It is. It's a real myth.
However, in listening to the myth of this, it seemed to work. at least temporarily.
Well, no, it seemed to work because they didn't have any of the problems that stepfamilies have.
That's
they didn't
true.
have visitation. They didn't have child support. Nobody went back to court to alter the custody arrangements. There weren't any in-laws putting pressure on the family. It was as if they were a normal nuclear family.
That's right, and that's why.
And that's the template. It's the nuclear family myth. That's the template that people get stuck into because it's something familiar and something that we know, and it broadsides everybody.
Okay, so
It just
myth
does.
number 1 is that there's absolutely total unrealistic expectations. Okay, myth number 2 would be
Instant love.
instant love of everybody
If
loving
you-
everybody.
Yeah, if I'm with you, you are going to love my kids, and my kids are going to love you. And it's all going to work out just great.
Oh, just like
just
such-
wonderful. And it can't work out that way because there's going to be so many dynamics that start to happen in the step family that start the process of the problems that occur in every step family. No one's immune to it, but we don't talk about it.
Okay, so total unrealistic expectations, instant love, problems from the beginning. Okay, there are a few more myths.
Well, there's a myth called the rescue fantasy. You know, this person's going to come into my life and rescue me, rescue my kids, and we're all going to be happy about that.
And from the male side, there's the rescue fantasy of I'm going to come in and rescue these kids, and I'm going to raise them right, just how I feel.
Yeah.
And with this lovely woman who I love and who won't take sides with the kids against me.
Right. Men are usually really surprised there.
Yes,
You know.
it's a real surprise. You think you're a hero, and it turns out you're an outsider.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we pretty much are getting a feeling of what's going to work and what for sure doesn't work. But then you are the wonderful educators on really what will work in a step family. So take us through then, what are some of the things that will work?
One of the things that we started to say earlier is the communication in the couple. But you have to know what you're communicating about. Because if you're communicating in traditional roles, in our situation, because you had kids that were still home, if he communicated as the father without knowing what was happening in the step family, and I was being ignorant of what would be happening in my position, we would be fighting rather than communicating productively. So because we knew this insider-outsider position that happens in step families, and what happens in the insider-outsider is the person with the children and the kids have, they know all the codes. They know all the rules of the house. They are, they know where the things go in the dishwasher. They know where things go in the house. They know what somebody's going to say before they say it. And the step parent comes in and they always feel on the outside of this bond that the family had. And they're pushing to get in. And the more they're pushing to get in, very often the kids are starting to resist them coming in. Or they're splitting with the other spouse. So when they're splitting with the other spouse and they're running to, say, their mom who's not in the house and saying, oh, she's pushing us to do this, she's pushing us to do that, what's the mother going to do? Become very protective. And so now you have this bad vibe going on between the step parent who's going to feel more on the outside.
Okay, so here we have the problem.
Yeah.
And then take us to one of the possible solutions to that, Rex.
Well, the solution for us, I spent a lot of time trying to talk Susan into marrying me. She had step family experience, and here I am with 2 teenagers at home.
Okay.
And I think one of the best sales points to her was, I said, I don't know anybody's children that I love other than my own. And I don't expect you to love my children.
Well,
What
that
I
was-
expect you to do is work with me on this. No substitute mother, none of that. And with her education and background, she knew that was actually the correct thing and the correct way to approach it.
He really gave me the right answer.
Well, also,
He really did.